Alrighty, Lumberjacks, welcome back to another Logging from Scratch episode. Last time we were playing, we had just started the train clearing section over there. I did have to bring in my grapple to the shop to get some stuff fixed on it, but it should be waiting for us. So I think what we're going to do, since we're moving into some of the bigger trees and stuff now, I'm going to load up our little excavator and it's going to come on a little trip with us, because I think we're probably going to need it to knock down some of the bigger trees. And that, and I want to pick the grapple up for it as well. So we'll put this guy on here real quick. And then head over to the shop if I can remember. Oops, if I can remember exactly where it is. Looks like I didn't lower that ramp enough. So we're going to take advantage of this. Lift ourselves up. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So I'll park this guy right here. And we'll go like that. Excellent. Alrighty. So let's just go give it a little whirl here. Now, I can't remember exactly where the shop is, so that's something we're going to figure out on our own here. I think it's just on the main part of the road. Actually, let's bring up our little mini map here. Oh, actually, I think it's pretty much right up here. Or no, I think it's behind us. Oh my god, I don't know where I'm going anymore. So we're going to do a little detour on the road here. Hopefully not cutting off too much traffic. I think the shop's actually back up here, if I'm not mistaken. Where is that? The shop is... Oh, my map disappeared. Oh, I think I was supposed to take a left. Man, I don't know this town at all. I wonder if you guys notice. No, definitely not. So let's go up here. And the shop should be just kind of like on our right-hand side here somewhere. Like right here. Perfect. Oops. Just freaking a little bit heavy here, dragging me around. Alright, we just need to get up to our shop. Oh, sliding around really good. I don't know what's going on here. Slip and slide. I must have that thing positioned not right or something on the back, which we'll correct. Yeah, I think it's just I have it pushed too far to the back here. I will fix that right now. My back end's just hopping up and down. Yeah, that's good. Real good. Alright, so let's go down, grab this real quick. We'll throw that back on there. Oh, I'm going to have to lower that ramp again. Let's push this up here. See if I can get that ramp a little bit lower. There we go. I think I'm still going to have to lift myself up a little bit, but that's okay. We can still manage here, I'm sure. Okay, let's go like this. Just do the old slide up on here. I'm actually going to park way close to the front, and then I'm going to put my head back here so she don't slide around. Shouldn't be sliding around, but I've been playing with a little bit of the stuff on the trailer here, so we don't actually have to lock it down, but I don't remember putting a locking piece on this one. I forgot, so I better do that before we get too wild. But I think as long as I have this parked like that, if I raise this ramp, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put pressure against the ramp like that. Not a lot of pressure, but a little bit. So that way it won't, it may slide side to side, but it can't slide backwards, and it'll always stay with the weight kind of on that hitch point. So I think that'll work out good. Safety first. I'll probably make a nice little picture out of that. Sure, why not? Why not, indeed. Now I'm hoping she stays pretty stable now. So now I want to go to my left, I believe, when I come out of here. Yes. Left, and then we're just going to go straight up this road up here. Or actually, I'm going to go up this one here. See if I can remember exactly where our spot was. So I had a lot of popularity on the topic of the day stuff, and I kind of was running out of topics of the day, so that's why I stopped for a while. But I'm going to get back into it. A lot of people have been requesting that they want it back, and honestly, some of the most fun I've had is just interacting with you guys in your comments and just seeing what you guys put for topics of the day answers. So in the last I don't know, probably 10 videos or more, I haven't been doing the topic of the day just because I was like, well, we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I don't know. I think it's fun to do, and I think you guys really enjoy it as well. So I think we're gonna stick to it. Am I going up or am I going straight? I think I'm going straight. I can't remember. So today, for topic of the day, I thought of a fun one. I was going to do your job history. This may be exciting, may be boring, but depending who you are. So maybe not every single job, but maybe your top jobs or worst jobs or best jobs that you've done since you started working in your life. So starting from what was your very first job that you ever did, and then maybe what were some of the best versus worst jobs that you've had to deal with. I think that'd be a fun one. Oh look, and there's the train, so we're gonna miss that. So I'll go into details on that in a second once I get situated to something a little more boring where I don't have to think at the same time as talking. Just waiting for the train. Look at that thing bouncing back there. It worked though. It stayed in there. It didn't slide to the back. We don't need to wait for the train anyway. We need to just kind of whip up the railroad here a little bit. Playing high stakes here with the train. So now we got a bunch of stuff that we think we piled it right over here somewhere. Oh, probably on this side road. I can't remember if we did a load. Did we do a load last time? No, we just piled it, I think. Alright. So what we're going to do is let's unload this guy. I gotta remember before the next one to fix that trailer too. So we'll go drive that off there. Now we're gonna end up just leaving this guy out here. I can see this already because we got a lot of work to do. And then plan our attack here. So job-wise, so what was the very first job? Okay, well, I'll start with me since I'm the one talking and you guys aren't responding to me yet. And I honestly can't remember. I think the very first job I ever had was probably, I think, working with my dad doing commercial fishing. We were fishing for tuna, or albacore, if you want to call them that. That was a very interesting first job. I only did it for about, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, and then that was the end of that season, and then I ended up working elsewhere. But that was probably the very first job. Very interesting type of work, too. It's very hard work, very weird hours. Unfortunately, when I was doing it for the very first time, it was during, or I'm not sure if it was right before or during hurricane season, but it was probably some of the worst weather that they'd seen in a very long time, so that made the experience kind of rough for my first shot at it. But my dad is a very, 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 very experienced fisherman in every sort of good and bad weather, so he made it as livable as possible for the experience. But yeah, it was good. I made a real big load of money off of it, which was fantastic. Made a lot of money, had a pretty interesting time. Would I go back and do it again? I don't know. I mean, I've got so much work now on my own. I think I would probably not unless I had to. But yeah, commercial fishing is a wild sport. Not something you see a lot of either these days. But I think that was my. Oh, excuse me. I think that was my very first occupation where I actually got like a paycheck from an employer, and it wasn't my dad who paid me. It was like the actual company. They hired me on as an employee for that rest of that season, which was pretty cool. And that was probably the, like I said, the first job. I've had a lot of jobs that I've jumped to, lots of different occupations. I'm not going to list them all. There's probably like 30 of them since I was a little guy, but I have definitely tried a lot of different things and experienced a lot of different things to determine what was the best. Actually, I'm just going to keep that a full limb, I think, since we got this guy here. Now let's just slide this over here. But yeah, so commercial fishing, and what was the next job? I guess the next kind of real... I worked at Subway for a while. That was pretty exciting. As a sandwich artist, high quality sandwich artist. That was a interesting job. I only did that one for... I don't even think it was 2 months. That was again working for a friend's, my really close friend's father. kind of a family gig. But I was still in high school then, and I was pretty lazy and didn't want to work. So why can't I pick this log up? What's going on here? Glitchy. But yeah, I didn't want to work very hard in high school. That's for certain. So I did Subway for, I think it was, maybe 2 months in the summer or something, and then I just kind of didn't want to do it anymore. It was kind of brutal. But it was an interesting job. I still have a couple friends I know that work at a Subway down in Vancouver, and they constantly send me the funniest Subway memes I've ever seen. So that's one good experience. What else did we do for work? Oops. I worked at. I've done lots of janitorial stuff. I've worked at lots of companies that do cleaning and that kind of work. Now, regardless of people saying cleaning jobs are for suckers, you know how in high school, or maybe they don't anymore, but at least when I was younger, they used to say, well, get a good job and a good education. You don't want to end up working as a janitor. Honestly, it's some of the best work I think I've ever had. At least you know what you're doing. The work is very straightforward. Oh, I think we need to drive ahead a bit here. A little bit further. Oh, not too far, though. Oh, that's a problem. You can't really get a good grip on these. There we go. But yeah, janitorial work is generally not paid terribly. Is this thing just got like a... Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to jump out here, but you see how this orange line pops off the tree? That's where the actual tree is. It's kind of stupid. So even though it looks like I'm not touching the tree, right now I have a full grip on it, which is brutal. So we're actually going to fall this towards that way, just in case we lose it and a train's coming. I don't want to deal with that. But yeah, sorry, I keep jumping back and forth. This is the hard part of topic of the day. So, janitorial work is definitely some of the more interesting work that I've had. Although it does have its messy moments, it's probably some of the most relaxing work because you know what you're doing. There's no drama. Well, generally no drama. It's pretty straightforward. You go in, you clean, you leave. Oh, you know what? Later on in life, you start to really appreciate the simplicity of certain jobs because some things just get overly complicated. I have my current job. I work in telecom, working as a telephony guy. So I do. It's really, really not an exciting job. It's a really great company, but really not an exciting job. Basically running numbers. It's almost like modding all day because I'm basically just typing codes and numbers and stuff all day long into various different formats. So that's pretty exciting. But it's funny because I use a lot of the same programs for modding that I use for coding, so it's pretty comedic that way. But yeah, looking back through my job history, I'd say, those were probably the top beginning ones. And then there's various random ones in between that I used to do. And then, I could go even further on topic of the day and ask, what's the weirdest job? What's the weirdest job you've done? That's also a fun one. So I want to hear that from you guys. What's the strangest job you've ever worked? Because that's actually kind of interesting. I find that super interesting. I'm going to cut this guy. Look, the train's back in. I think he's got a quick detour there. All right, we got a decent grip on that guy, I think. So now this one, I'm going to cut, and then we're going to lay it down to the right, I think. Oh, look, a volleyball net. Play some volleyball. Interesting. Nice little place up here. So we're not taking down this big tree. That one's fine. We need to get this tree and then this little weird ugly palm tree over here and this other one on the other slope, and then we're golden. So we're going to get this one first. So weirdest job. Weirdest job. Well, probably I worked for the British Columbian coroner's service for a very fast job one time. Doing something called body removal, which was exactly how it sounds. It is, in fact, a job. There was a very close friend of mine in high school that I went to school with. He was a really good buddy of mine, but we hadn't talked much outside of high school. So he gives me he sent me a Facebook message before he called me. He sent me a Facebook message and he said, "Hey Jordan, how you doing? I know I haven't talked to you since like high school, but I heard from a friend you were looking for some extra work, and I had a job come up. If you want to help me with it, give me a call." No details, no nothing. That's basically what I got from him, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So I call him up, and he says, yeah, it's a very private type of job. You know, you have to have your wits about you. It's, you know, something quite serious kind of work. And I was like, what the heck is he talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Like police stuff or something? Like, what are we talking about here? So they told me, he said, the job is body removal. That was the name of the job. So I said, oh geez, I wasn't really 100% certain if that was something I wanted to do. It wasn't something I had seeked to do. I am not a medical guy by any chance. You know, I'm not the kind of guy that's like loves watching open surgeries on YouTube or anything like that. I don't necessarily cringe at the sight of blood or anything, but I'm not actively seeking to be more involved with the human anatomy than I already am by having a human body. So he was in dire straits, and he said he really needed somebody, and I said, okay, I'll give it a go, I guess, and try it. Up here where I live, it's a very, very small area, so there's not a lot of work for that type of thing. So he said, we're on call. If a job comes up, I'll give you a shout, and we can go take a look and see how it goes. So I was I don't know what the word would be. I wasn't very interested in it, to be honest, and I was a little bit kind of weary about how it was going to go. So we did get our first call, and I'm not going to go into details on any of this stuff because I don't need to go into details, but I did indeed do one call with him where we had to recover a human remains for something, and it was very, 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 very traumatic experience to have to do that. It was not the job for me. I can definitely do the job, but it wasn't something that I had a great time doing. I would highly not recommend it for people if you're, you know, squeamish in any way, shape, or form. But that one was definitely the strangest job I think I had ever done. At the end of the day, you know, as much as people get all weirded out by the whole, you know, dead bodies or dead people thing, at the end of the day, we're all just kind of, you know, humans that will end up in that state eventually one way or another in our lives. So you can look at it in a gross kind of, you know, zombie kind of attitude, which lots of people do. You know, they watch horror movies and they say, oh yeah, gross zombies and monsters and blah, 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 blah. And you can freak yourself out and think that, you know, the dead people are coming back to life or whatever the heck. But in reality, that does not happen. In reality, you have to look at it in more of maybe a spiritual form, I would say. And I'm not talking like religious, but more of a humankind kind of spiritual. Like, you know, you eventually will be getting picked up by somebody doing the exact same job. So if you happen to be doing the job, maybe just treat it as a more spiritual experience and try not to freak yourself out. Like I said, unfortunately for me, it was a very traumatic experience because a lot of things went not the way they were supposed to, even for the guy who was very experienced. So I look back on it as something that I learned, something that I experienced, and I think regardless of the experience, I think it made me a lot more indifferent to maybe the fear of the process of how it all works, which I think is a very healthy thing that everybody should probably eventually go through in one form or another. But yeah, that I think tops probably my strangest jobs I've ever had is that one. And then most of the other work that I've done throughout my life has all been related to security and being a bouncer in bars, that kind of stuff, which is much more the lively side of things. So that was far more exciting. But yeah, there's lots of different experiences to be had, and you know, I hear lots of people that say, oh, once you get one job, you got that job for life. That's what you're going to be doing. I find that so boring. Like, if you're going to go explore life, like, go out and see things, try things. Maybe you'll find something that's just right up your alley. Like, maybe it'll be the one job you've always wanted. And then I find a lot of people who say they spent their whole life training for this position. It's the job they always wanted. And then when they finally get it, they're like, man, that's not at all what I thought it was going to be. I have lots of buddies that went to school for some very high quality occupations that didn't end up enjoying what they were doing. So I'd say if you're at an early age in your life, especially if you're younger, like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm an old geezer, but I'm 30 years old and I've had a lot of different varieties of work. I say when you're young, try stuff out. If you find it's something that's not working for you or it's really horrible, it's never too late to try something else. Obviously, as you get later on in life, you start getting things like you'll buy yourself a house, or you have bills to pay, or you've made debts, and it's harder to just jump occupations all the time to figure out what you want. So when you're young and you're still in school, or you're looking at going to school, but you need some work in the meantime, you're still living at home, that's a good time to test out jobs. Because worst case scenario, if your job doesn't work out, you still have a place to live, and parents are usually a lot more forgiving to their kids when they quit their job to find something else. But don't feel ashamed if you're changing jobs to kind of see what you like, because that is a good part of the whole experience. So, throwing back to you guys here, I'm just going to sort these last two pieces of wood, and I'll leave these here before we head back to the uncle's place. Oops. So for you guys in the comments below, I want to hear, if you want to post your whole job history of all the different places you work, by all means share it. I'm totally love to read that stuff. Oh my goodness, these logs are just the worst to handle in this game because the physics are not all there. I think there's actually more tree attached to this log than I'm thinking there is. Yeah, see this giant invisible chunk of log here? This isn't actually on the tree anymore. So maybe we can just cut this piece off. I was hoping it would disappear, but I don't think it will. See, now I have to turn on this mode just to find this tree. Somewhere right here. So it's telling me there's a piece of tree there, but there really isn't, so we're just going to throw that aside. Anyway, so sorry. Again, I got distracted because that's the story of my life when I'm recording. But yes, I want to hear the jobs that you have worked, if you want to share them. You don't have to, but feel free. Jobs that you've worked, and I want to know what your weirdest, strangest job was that you did for work, because that'll be actually kind of fun. Okay, so let's put a kibosh on this guy. I'm just gonna leave this thing here. It'll be fine out in the middle of nowhere. Of course, we said that before, and something happens. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. And we're gonna just back this guy up. Actually, I'm gonna leave the trailer here too, because we're gonna need it to load up, and there's no point in dragging it all the way back to the uncle's place. Let's get this guy turned around. So yeah, topic of the day is back. I really do enjoy doing the role-playing stuff that we're doing. Oops, there's a car there. Look at that. I do enjoy the role-playing stuff that we're doing, and I'm going to continue to do that. But at the same time, I want to have kind of a half conversation so that we can keep it a little more fun. I really enjoy the kind of podcasty style we have where we talk about subjects, and it's fun. It really is fun for me to read your guys' comments coming back on the topics. That's the true joy for me doing these videos. So as much as I'm going to be into the role-playing side, I'm also going to be into the topic side so that we have things to talk about. Keep it all nice and fun. Should be good. But yeah, I want to hear from you guys, so please do leave a comment. I love it. Love the comments. I got to figure out where my uncle lives. Oh, I think it's up the street. Every time I come back to this map, I'm always just like, oh man, I don't know this one. Where's everybody live? I think it's right... Oh, it's like right here. Here we are. Home sweet home. Okay, I'm just going to park this bad boy right here. We'll call it on that one. When we come back, we're going to go back, keep finishing it up. We still got one big tree and one palm tree to take down. Once that's all taken care of, we can move on to that hillside project, which I'm going to have to rent some equipment for, so should be fun. All right, guys, if you liked the video, leave a like, leave a comment. Do not forget to subscribe, and if you're in the bush, don't forget to hug a tree. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.